First of all, we need to acknowledge what resilience is. So, resilience is the ability to flow effectively and efficiently between dysregulation, fight, flight, not freeze necessarily, but sure, maybe. Technically, yes, but I don't really want us to be freezing in our businesses and fawn. So it's a recognition that these things will happen. If you're sensitive to public speaking, you will feel kind of a tension in your chest, and you might feel a surge of energy in your body the day before that says, I'm going to prepare for this. That's good. We want that surge of energy to come in because you care about this and it is important to you. So your body provides energy um, to prepare for it. What we want is to make sure that you can down regulate and be resilient so that you can go to sleep and have a very good sleep that night. You're not up waking up about it.
We have an incredible speaker for you, okay? Her name is Sheridan Ruth, and she's joining us today to talk about the entrepreneurial roller coaster. Yeah, right? I know. I know. We all need that. Sheridan's journey is nothing short of inspiring. So, having faced immense personal loss and trauma, she's turned all of those challenges into an innovative approach that merges the body based tools, nervous system, insights, and business strategies. That's why she's here. So I want you guys to go grab your pen, grab a paper, and start taking notes because this is what we're here for. We're here for you to launch and to launch in a way that is holistic. Okay. And Sheridan is going to help because she really helps visionary women entrepreneurs find balance, reduce anxiety, and create sustainable success on their own terms. That's why you're here. Her methods are transforming how we view resilience and leadership. So I want you to welcome Sheridan to the stage, and I want you to be very attentive because this means that you are really showing up for you. And when some experts come on here to give you their expertise and what they do, you really need to pay attention. All right, here she is, Sheridan Ruth. Welcome.
Ten. Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I am so glad you're here. These amazing women that are watching and a part of this, they are all aspiring or starting to grow their businesses and want to have the tools, the tips, the mindset, the inspiration in their life so that they can launch, so they can move forward, right? 2025 is the year to do it, Sheridan. I don't think we can keep waiting for 2026 and 27 and 28, right? Like today's the day and we need to show up, right? So, the way I want to start off is maybe just giving these women a little bit about yourself, right? Why you're passionate about helping them to really avoid the burnout in their life. Not that we have burnout in our lives, but I just want you to help them with that. So let's start there.
Mm. Oh, thank you for having me. Okay, so there's two reasons that I've dedicated so much of my life to supporting entrepreneurs in making a difference without sacrificing their well-being. And one is very deeply personal. You know, I was 7 years old when I started losing my hair, and it created inside of me all of those wounds that we all have of, there's something wrong with me, there's something wrong with the way I do things. I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not resourceful enough, all of these things. And it led me into some pretty dark places. That got me into the depth of it. I was 24 years old. I'd been in an abusive relationship for 5 years. I couldn't even sit with my breath for 20 seconds. I remember laying in this big king bed that I had one day because, I had achieved it all. I had this great income. People people were in such admiration of this thing that I'd done, this thing that I'd built, and all of these studies and all of the nonprofit work that I was doing. But I would lay in this big fluffy bed, and my goal was to meditate for 20 seconds. And I couldn't do it. As soon as I sat with myself, I started having what, in hindsight, I now understand was a panic attack. And so That began a very long journey of returning home to figure out what is it that I need, what is it that I want, and how do I have the confidence to do it. Now we call that somatic intelligence. I call that somatic intelligence, and maybe we can come back to that later. But through coming back to my body and through learning to understand it and having the confidence to act, to care for what my body was telling me I needed, I left an abusive relationship. He died um, by suicide just a few weeks later, and I was diagnosed with complex PTSD. At the same time, I hated my job in finance because I had this very toxic workplace. And so I decided that I was going to teach yoga therapy. It was the one thing that was getting me or had gotten me out of my depression and anxiety and the complex PTSD. And it was a funny mix of me being quite healed, but not quite at the same time. And so when I went and I decided to launch my business properly, all of my stuff just like it comes up. It was just it began feeling like this roller coaster of emotional ups and downs. Is this going to work? Is this not going to work? What happens? And I became completely engrossed in in this, and I would spend so many hours watching summits like this and trying to figure this thing out, and so petrified of failure until another moment, at home where I kind of sat down to do my practices, to meditate, whatever it was, and I broke down. I had been waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning thinking about if I had written the right thing in an email. I had trouble going to sleep. I was starting to get headaches. I couldn't speak or think about anything that wasn't professional or personal development. I'd lost a lot of just like the fun in the whole reason that you were getting a business online and getting it going. And it was then that I realized that it wasn't about working harder, wasn't about learning somebody else's strategy, although there is value in education. It wasn't about learning their marketing. It wasn't about becoming a better copywriter. It wasn't about doing anything. It was about teaching my nervous system what we call nervous system resilience so that I could show up and do the hard things that launching a business does require, but then completely soften and forget about it on the weekends, fill my cup up, and keep moving into that place, not from a place of wanting to prove myself to anyone, my dad, not society, that I have enough money, not anyone to say that I'm good at what I do, or to run away from pain and keep myself busy and my mind busy, not to continue being motivated by my own pain and my own feelings of inadequacy. And slowly, once I stopped doing that, it was a slow process, things kind of came to fall together. And I found, quote unquote, my niche. People kept asking, this magic happens. People are like, oh, would you help me with this? You built this business? I was doing anxiety coaching then. You built this business. Can you teach me how to do it? I was like, yeah, I can kind of teach you some things, I guess. Yeah, sure. And then, oh, you've done this. Can you do that? And people started seeing in me a magic that I hadn't seen. And people started inviting me into this niche. And all of these little um, juggle jigsaw pieces kind of fell into place. And we've used the body based business now. It's trademark. I've written a book that'll be out next year. We've coached over 400 individuals with this methodology, which I think is really beautiful. I've done one-on-one coaching for 4 years without a single landing page, and I've been fully booked, overwhelming at some points. And it's just been really nourishing. It's been something that gives back. And I think in that way, it kind of defies the way that we believe entrepreneurship has to be, or we're scared it might be. Uh, yeah, that's why we're here.
That's so beautiful, right? Because you were talking about how when you started, You start with one thing and then you quickly, if you don't catch yourself, you lose the fun in why you started this business. And a lot of the symptoms that you're talking about, resonate with me with the burnout stages, you know, the exhaustion mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that. And, you start to feel disconnected, but you're talking about how we can now become connected to what it is we're trying to create. And so I did want to talk to you about, for those of us who aren't familiar, can you explain to us what the nervous system is and how it impacts our work as entrepreneurs? Because I think that's
Yeah.
something we really need to connect with.
Yeah, and I'll link it as well to burnout because your nervous system, first of all, is I like to think of it as kind of the body's communication center. It is responsible for regulating how much energy you have in your body, the emotions that you experience in your body, what you focus on, including what you can focus on, uh, and also the things that you just tend to notice, your perception of the world. It impacts how much energy there is available for your creativity, and it impacts our ability to prevent burnout by allowing us to feel replenished, rejuvenated, physically and mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I refer to our autonomic nervous system. So these are things that are just happening automatically. And what happens a lot of the time is that when it senses danger, it goes into a dysregulated state, fight, flight, freeze, fawn. You might feel anxious, hypervigilant, like you need to push through, or you feel stuck and disconnected and shut down, and like everything is just like such a big difficult. And oftentimes, what is occurring is that your body, your nervous system, is perceiving something about your work, or even the fact that you want to make a business or you want to go and speak at that summit. It thinks that that is dangerous. So it creates a lot of very intricate and very insidious, so they're very difficult to see when you're experiencing them, uh, experiences for you, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual experiences for you that keep you away from that danger that it has, that fear that it has inside, which for most humans can be very confusing and difficult because consciously we want something. We can't quite figure out why it feels clunky getting there or why we want to be rested. We built the business so that we can be rested. Why am I working so hard? And why can't I turn my brain off? And that's your nervous system.
Yeah, that's so good. And I want to, touch on a couple of things you said too, because you mentioned, was it fight, flight? Was it free and fawn? Is that what you said?
Freeze and fawn.
Freeze and fawn. Okay. So when you're talking about these states, right, the different states that we're in, how do we create resilience and strategy around that in our business journey, as these amazing women who are here are looking to either elevate and escalate their business, or they're just starting, right? So we're trying to help them navigate that. So I was just really, as I'm listening to you, thinking, how do we move out of these states, right, and create resilience in our business journey? Can you help us with
Yeah,
that?
it's a good question because, first of all, we need to acknowledge what resilience is. So, resilience is the ability to flow effectively and efficiently between dysregulation, fight, flight, not freeze necessarily, but sure, maybe. Technically, yes, but I don't really want us to be freezing in our businesses and fawn. So it's a recognition that these things will happen. If you're sensitive to public speaking, you will feel kind of a tension in your chest, and you might feel a surge of energy in your body the day before that says, "I'm going to prepare for this." That's good. We want that surge of energy to come in because you care about this and it is important to you. So your body provides energy um, to do to prepare for it. What we want is to make sure that you can down regulate and be resilient so that you can go to sleep and have a very good sleep that night. You're not up waking up about it. So I have created a body-based business methodology which has these three pillars of resilience so that you can use them in your day-to-day in business. The first one is that regulation. So it's all about getting your body back to a baseline state of calm that you can return to even in stressful situations without needing a lot of privacy or time or knowledge. I teach learning to read your body, learning to read the energy in it. And there are certain tools and practices that we can do where we breathe a little bit deeper or we run around and stomp around and we learn how to read that energy in the body and bring us back down to calm through healthy mechanisms. Some of us do it through alcohol, some of us do it through eating, some of us do it through complaining to our friends, which is sometimes good, but not always. So the first thing we do is teach regulation. This is really helpful. Like yesterday, I used it going to sleep. I had a big day. It was a really exciting day. I had some great things happen, but I was therefore a bit activated and I was going to sleep. So for me, it looked like doing a little meditation, doing a brain dump, and then as I was sleeping, as I was going to sleep, relaxing every little piece of my body, right? It might look like taking a walk after a difficult call where it wasn't, it was a difficult conversation where you had to say things that were hard. The limitation with just focusing on regulation is that we get really tired of regulating all of the time. It's not fun to be constantly kind of like, oh, I got activated, or I now I have to deal with this, or I felt like I couldn't do something, so I had to find that motivation energy. It's quite honestly pretty exhausting. This is where we couple it with the pillar trauma healing. Here we address the deeper patterns and blocks like perfectionism, fear of failure, fear of abandonment, um, difficulty and inability receiving and feeling safe receiving and being witnessed receiving, imposter syndrome, um, that are pulling you into dysregulation, that are making this feel so roller coastery. What we don't do is try to fix this or heal this or change this about you. We accept that you are a loving and beautiful individual as you are, that you don't need to be more healed or more safe to make more money, which is very different. A lot of people will talk about like getting rid of these limiting beliefs or fixing or getting rid of the anxiety, getting rid of the perfectionism or getting rid of all these things or like healing and overcoming. And on one hand, that's what we're doing, but we're not doing it with the attitude that you need to be different or better in order to have the things that you want. No, you need to fully accept and love and care for yourself, understanding your tendencies. Then, understanding your tendencies, uh, we create protocols. So that means that we build systems and strategies and routines that align with your energy and your strengths. This is about working with who you are. So if you're neurodivergent, understanding how your brain works and structuring everything to work around it. If you have a fear of abandonment and so you cling to your clients and you never want them to leave, then we set you up with some kind of scripts or some protocols that help you lean back when you're inviting a client to extend with you and you're okay without it. Um, and these look very different. They can be lifestyle oriented or they can be more kind of strategy and like on your dubsado and like playing around with those things. But they support your well-being and they get you towards your goals without having to change who you are. Is that clear?
Oh my God, that was so good. Yes. I wrote down a lot of notes. And it's, I mean, All of this is so true and doable. And I think that a lot of us just don't pay attention, right? And it wasn't until my body shut down with autoimmune conditions and stuff that I started to realize that I needed to do something about it, or I was going to run myself into the ground, literally into the ground, right? And you talked about, regulation, about, you know, um, breathing and reading, energy, taking a walk, like all of these strategic things that at times we don't pause to do. We
Yeah,
just keep going because we think we have to hit the next thing, whatever the thing is. And, you talked about your regulation. You also talked about healing and, healing perfectionism, the fear of failure, imposter syndrome, the roller coaster that we all go on, I think, as driven women, right? We all go down this roller coaster until you hit a wall when the roller coaster stops going and you're stuck now, right? And so I was really curious as to you gave us some like amazing like tools there and tips. But for the listeners who want to get off this freaking roller coaster, besides working with you, because I think that's super important, what's something they can do like immediately, right? To start taking some action towards getting off of this roller coaster that they're on or that they're about to go on, right? So that they can be aware. Does that make sense?
totally. Is it is it too overwhelming if I give three, or if I give you three to pick from, will you pick if do you want to pick one?
No, go for it. No, give them what they need. Yeah.
I'm gonna give three because I'm going to give one from regulation, one from trauma healing, and one from protocols, each pillar. They work well together because they're how we, as I said, we can't do one without the other because then we end up exhausting ourselves or kind of almost like ending on this healing hamster wheel of trying to fix myself and working against this system that isn't supporting me. So the first one is regulation. We're all going to do it together right now. This is a really nice one. And we're going to do a physiological sigh. There's a lot of science about how this simple breath practice that you can literally do in the grocery line is one of the best ways to bring us back into that state of calm. So, what we're going to do is we're going to do three of them. What they look like is you take a big inhale, then you sip more air in, pull your shoulders up a little bit, open your mouth, exhale, let it all out. Okay, two more. So, inhale, sip, exhale. Last one. Inhale, sip it in, exhale. Hey. Now, notice if you can push your belly out, keep it out a little bit more, lean back a little bit more into your seat. Maybe even soften your pelvic floor muscles and just hang out here for a sec. Just a sec. You can hang out here as long as you want. See if you can receive what I'm about to say from this space. So, leaning back, belly is soft, spending more time in this position. The second thing I'm going to ask you to do comes from the trauma healing. And it's just about understanding what is motivating the the actions and impulses and urges that you have. So next time you find yourself uh, experiencing some level of either lack of motivation or tension, each person has kind of a tendency to be more of a apathetic, and it's difficult to get motivated. Procrastinating, you probably say you procrastinate, and others have a tendency to just keep going. You're gonna find a sensation in your body. It might even feel like a wall, or it might feel like there's tension in your chest or like a heaviness in your belly. And you're going to ask what it's trying to teach you, what it's trying to tell you. It might be just trying to tell you you have to get to do the work, or the story it's telling is you can't do it. It's too hard. Take too long. And we're just beginning here because, and you kind of keep doing it, we're just beginning here because I want you to get curious about what motivates your experience. Over a longer period of time, when I do this with my clients and we combine it with something called somatic parts work, a deeper inquiry, we can learn that the reason that you haven't shown up to your email list or asked for that raise isn't because you're not prioritizing the time. It's because maybe you have a really deep fear of rejection that runs really deep and you thought you healed it years ago and it's still here. And then we understand that, we accept that, we can heal that, we can unburden. And then you have spontaneously know the how of asking for the raise or of showing up because you have creative energy freed up. The third that I'm going to share with you is protocols. This one is sometimes difficult to articulate, so I'm just going to use an example from a client that I had yesterday. She struggles with setting boundaries, both with herself and with her clients. So she would consistently overschedule herself, say yes to lots of things, and then feel really scattered in her day. And she would also say yes and offer a lot of discounts and things to her clients. And she had large accounts, so she was, making quite a bit of money, and she would justify it because of that. So we developed a boundary protocol for herself and her clients, which was that her automatic response was like, I love that idea. I don't say yes to anything without sitting with it for 24 hours because of the phase of life that I'm in and that there are so many wonderful things happening. So I'm having this idea right now, or I love the idea that you've just said. And in 24 hours, I'll tell you yes or no. And that was just a system that she created. No matter what, she said that. And that way she was able to schedule her day how she needed, how she wanted, how she could be productive. And she stopped herself from giving discounts or spending too long with a client or saying yes to things that didn't get her to the goal that she wanted, just kept her busy. She felt more energy, she decreased her stress, and she got to hang out with her kids more. And that's another example. Those are three.
That's really powerful. Really powerful. So the three methods to getting off of the roller coaster that you've given these beautiful ladies is the breath work, the regulation, right? I was doing it with you. Oh my God, it feels so good. I'm like, I love Sheridan. That's why I wanted you here.
It makes me
Um,
breathe.
exactly. To the trauma healing, right? What is motivating those actions? And I love that you're really telling them to connect to the body, right? To listen to where that is. Where are you feeling this? Pressure or resistance or wall or, where are you feeling that? So ladies, I hope you guys are taking notes. And then the third was protocols. And I love the example that you used because I talk a lot about boundaries myself because I never had boundaries. And
Mm.
so I was always unhealthy because I was always angry or ticked off that I had to do all the things I said yes to that now I realize I had no time to do. Right. So boundaries are to me very respectful for you and very respectful for the other person. Right. And so I love that. And I'm going to use this in my life. That's a great idea. Let me sit with that for 24 hours and get back to you. Because especially for all of you who are starting a business, growing your business, I bet you really resonated with what she was using as an example, because a lot of us, especially as coaches, we want to help. This is why we've become coaches, right? And a lot of us become entrepreneurs and have these services because we want to help someone. And so we think that the yes is a have to, and it isn't, right? I think the best thing you could ever do to the other person on the other side of your screen, table, coffee cup, whatever, is to respect them enough that you will think about it, as opposed to just saying yes and then being frustrated, you know? So I love that. I love everything about this. So breathe and connect with yourself. Um, feel your body and know where that's coming from. And then have a protocol to protect yourself, your energy, but also to protect that relationship that you're building with the client, the person across from you, right? Beautiful,
Yeah.
girl. Beautiful. You're so awesome. Okay. So, why do you think that the way we've been doing things, these traditional methods of entrepreneurship, has been leading so many of us to burnout? Because we don't feel like pausing and breathing, like you're asking us to do, is part of that process, right? And so when you tell us to do something a bit different, like pause, wait, how do you feel? Give them 24 hours. Like, that's not a thing. Like, we're not supposed to do that in our entrepreneurial world. We're supposed to answer and get that sale and close the deal, right? So, why do you think it's been set up that way, these traditional methods that are leading so many of us to burnout? Because it is happening, it's a thing.
It is, I get this Instagram ad and it's like 68% of Australians experience burnout.
Wow.
And that's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. It's more than half. Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. You know what? I think that when it's that amount and we can all resonate with it, it comes back to not knowing how to read our body.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and not valuing that. From that space, all of these erroneous beliefs occur where we think that we're going to achieve success by getting more done. We've got that famous like Gary V, Tony Robbins of like, be big, be bold, 20x, go
Mhm.
out
Mhm.
there. And there's a lot of value in that. And I definitely resonate with being a go getter. I think probably you would as well. And we,
Mhm.
we probably, what I want to be mindful is that we also experience burnout when we don't honor the part of us that wants to go for the goal,
Yeah.
the part of us that
Good.
wants to be big, the part of us that wants to be busy. The part when we idealize the rest part of things, we will also experience burnout. And it all comes back to not understanding what it is that our body is trying to communicate, checking in, understanding that, learning to read it. And it's because we are in systems that don't understand that that exists and don't
Right.
value it. And we're living in I think at the end of the day, we're living in a patriarchal system that was made on a man's clock and wants to eradicate or attempts to eradicate the things that we cannot explain with science.
Mm.
Scientifically
Mhm.
speaking, yeah, the more people I speak to, I should close more deals. But unless I can show up with genuine love, care, authenticity, I'm going to exhaust myself because I'm going to be reaching inside of me and going beyond my capacity to get the deal.
Yeah.
It's better to have less conversations, to do less things, and come from a place uh, of what we call nervous system congruence and be a safe space. Every single conversation I have is going to be more effective. Or maybe there's something inside, there's like this little intuitive and instinctual thing inside that's like, I don't know why, but you need to reach out to that person. I don't know why, but you need to go co working today. And that's that magic in life that we unlock, but we only unlock it when we listen to our body because that's the way that it is communicated to us. We can't
Right.
access it through a
Right.
spreadsheet.
Right. No, it's true. And I think that we have to be more aware of that. I think, you gave us so many like gems, and just even like we can like take those 3 methods that you gave us, and that will start us on a road from balancing our ambitions and all we want to do to our well-being, to connecting it to our well-being, right? When we pause and breathe, and I know that there's way more that you do with your clients. And so I know we have to wrap it up. I don't want to because I love you, but I would like for you to give them one thing they can do today. Maybe it's just a breathing thing. Maybe they could just breathe today. Um, and then also, I want you to tell them what you're giving them, what your free gift is for them, because I want them to understand that they have a connection to you now, right? They can take this one
Mm-hmm.
piece that you're going to give them right now, and they can take what you're going to give them and they can connect with you right further. So give us that.
Yeah. So we've shared today the physiological sigh, which is that double inhale and open mouth exhale. We're going to keep it at that for your practice. Your homework is to go home. You probably already are at home. Your homework is to do that 3 times today and 3 times tomorrow and 3 times for 40 days. If you do this for 3 times for 40 days, you're going to notice a significant decrease in your cortisol and a significant your stress hormone and a significant increase in your creativity. You're going to be more present, you're going to be more innovative, and you're going to unlock more of that magic inside. We're going to focus mostly on the regulation. And you're going to have the opportunity to reach with me regarding more of the trauma healing and the protocols. Why? Because they're much deeper and they're much more nuanced and they're much more individual. I have a background as a somatic trauma therapist. And so I don't love doing deep trauma healing and excavation of these things inside of freebies or summits. It has to happen in a really safe place. And we make it really light and we make it really easy. So the way that we're going to stay connected is if you go to, Neena will have the link for you, but sure, www.sheridanruth/regulate, you're going to find a PDF that has about 13 different pages that explains and has images of your nervous system so that you can understand what your energy is doing, and how to regulate. We have physical practices, we have mental and emotional practices, we have like lifestyle changes, all of these little tips and tricks that you can build into your business to help you regulate. If you download this to your phone, you're going to be really happy because then you can just like look at it when you're in the toilet stall, in between a networking event or something. I'm just going to bring some more ease in. That way, we're also going to be connected. And maybe you want to share and reach out and say, I've got that inner perfectionist, or I've got that inner, I'm always planning for the next thing, or I'm always waiting for the shoe to drop. And I have a podcast called Sustainable Success, and I have different resources that are going to help you get a little bit more contemplative about what your motivation is around these things. But first, let's get you a little bit more grounded. So that's the nervous system PDF to regulate and the physiological sigh. And that way we can stay connected and we can dive deeper into making sure that your business is set up to support you, who you are today, and making sure that everything you do comes from a place of honoring your own self-worth and all of the intricacies that make you quirky and perfectly exactly who you are.
Oh my gosh. This was so awesome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the gems that you dropped. Thank you for the knowledge that you've given these amazing women and your free gift, because that's going to be super helpful, not just for them, because I'm downloading it too, so for me too. But Sheridan, you've always been so like special to my heart. And for those of you who don't know, she's been on my podcast before, and I would love you to go and listen to that as well, because it was just as beautiful, just as beautiful. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sheridan left you so many gems. I mean, you want to talk about burnout, not feeling connected, when you're losing fun in your business, and what does that mean, and how to regulate yourself and listen to your body, and how to create protocols for your own health and your own, you know, protection, if you will. It is such a beautiful, impactful, powerful conversation that Sheridan left so many beautiful ideas and gems for you as aspiring and growing entrepreneurs and coaches. Absolutely love this.